Hi guys, so today I'm bringing you a 20-minute upper body lifting circuit. We are going to have a 2-minute warm up and then we'll have 2 sets of the circuit that we're going to go through. So that'll take about 15, 16 minutes. Then we'll have a 2-minute cool down. For the circuits, it looks like 7 movements. We're going to be targeting a different muscle group in the upper body region with each exercise. So, because we are going to have limited rest, so that way we're not hitting the same exact muscles every single exercise. So it'll be a nice variety there, but we'll be working for 40 seconds and then we'll have 20 seconds to recover and transition to the next movement. So circuit workouts like this are nice because there's really little to no rest period in between the move transitions. But that makes it so that you're getting through things efficiently if you're short on time, but also in such a way that we're going to be able to hit a bunch of different exercises. So this is great to use if you want to supplement. Maybe you're doing a cardio day, you're running or going on the bike, and you're wanting to still get a lift in and want to target upper body. This is great to do for that. Or if you just need a standalone quick lifting workout, this is great for that as well. All right, so I hope you enjoy it. We're going to go ahead and get started with the warm up. 2 minutes on the warm up. You're going to hear the bell going off, but you kind of ignore that for the warm up. But then we'll get right into the upper body circuit. Um, don't need super heavy weights for upper body. You might be able to go a little bit heavier on chest press. You'll see for mine, I'm going to have my heaviest weights for chest press. But generally, if you have weights ranging from like 5 to 15 pounds, maybe 17, 18 pounds at the most, then that's usually a good weight range to work with for upper body moves. So, all right, here we go. All right, so we'll just start as usual with about a 2-minute warm up here just to get that upper body ready for the work that is coming. All right, so the first move we're actually going to start with is we're going to do an inchworm. All right, because we're just going to kind of get a little nice stretch through that spine. So you're going to inch it down one vertebrae at a time. Then we're going to walk it out. And then when we're in that plank position, I do want you to hit a push up. If you need to do it from the knees, that's fine. Elbows go back like an arrow. Okay, back into that plank. And then we're going to walk it up, roll it up, reach it high. Okay, so we're just going to do that a couple times. Walking it out on the knees or toes, hit that push up, back to that plank, and then walk it back. All right, really great full body movement here, but again, getting the chest and triceps, shoulders warm, knees or toes there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and just work some swimmers here. So we can go one arm at a time if you want to here, if you want to go both, but we're circling back, just getting those shoulders nice and loose. And then let's go ahead and take it forward. Okay, go ahead and just take an arm across. We'll just hold for a few seconds and then switch. All right, we'll probably get one more move in here. Go ahead and come down to kind of like a squat position. You can hold the hands like you're praying here. And we're just gonna reach it up nice and high and then come back. So that elbow is kind of pressing on the inside of the leg there. This is just great stretch for the back and the spine. Just open things up here. All right, you guys. First move up is a floor chest press. So you can go ahead and grab probably your heavier weight choice for this one. Feet flat, knees at 90. We're gonna set those weights, start them in a straight line, but then I want you to bend it a little bit because when we lower down, we want those elbows at about a 45-degree angle away from the body. Nice thing about this move is that the ground limits your range of motion. So once you feel the back of your arms hit the floor, you go right back up. And we're just finding a nice controlled tempo here. If you like to count your tempo, you can think down to and up to for this one. But again, we'll be hitting anywhere from 8 to 12 or 15 reps, depending on the move. On your breath work, we want to think inhale on the lower, exhale as you press up, and we're keeping that core bracing nice and tight the whole way through. Inhale and exhale. Get your last rep in here. All right, we're going to transition now to a wide bicep curl. So you probably want to go a little bit lighter on your weight choice. All right, I'm going to take mine down to 15s here, but usually 10s, 12s are a great place for a lot of people. So we're going to have those elbows pinned into the side, and we are going to curl those weights up at a little bit of a wider angle. We're keeping our palms up the whole time. That's going to put a little more emphasis directly on those biceps. Okay, other thing about this move is you want to get those arms pretty much straight. When you curl up, see how my elbows stay pinned in to the side? And you also want to stop a few inches in front of the shoulder, because what happens is if you go all the way up to the shoulder, what happens is those elbows usually end up shifting forward and can get the shoulder a little more involved than we want it to be. So on this, again, right here, keeping that nice wide angle, inhaling on the lower, exhaling on the lift. All right, we're done with that one. Next up, we're going into a kneeling Arnold press. So you're going to come down to the ground for this one. Okay, I like to have my laces flat on the ground, or you can put toes, whatever feels better. But we're starting elbows at about 90. We're pressing those weights up and kind of rotating. So palms face in, and then palms face to the front like you're giving me a high five. But I want you to keep the elbows fairly high. I also want you to think about pulling in the belly button toward the spine, keeping the core locked in, squeezing the glutes. All right, so there's lots of things we're focused on for this one. Since we're kneeling, it's forcing us to take the lower body out of helping at all. You are squeezing your glutes to keep everything nice and tight. All right, but work is in the shoulders there, and exhale, press, last one there. All right, now we're gonna go to a neutral grip row. All right, you might be able to go a little bit heavier on this one, maybe what you did similar for the curls or even maybe for chest press. But for this one, we're gonna come to a bent over position, back is nice and flat. And I want you to think about rolling those elbows up and back so that they're at about a 90-degree angle and they're hugging into the ribs. So from the front, you can see that my elbows are not flaring out on this one. I want you to think about squeezing your shoulder blades like you're pinching a pencil in between them. So we're hitting those back muscles, okay? Biceps are helping on this, but focus is really on those back muscles. Keep that nice neutral head and neck and spine. Exhaling on the pull, inhaling on the lower. Get one more in here. All right, now we're gonna go to a standing tricep extension. Okay, triceps are pretty small muscles, so we wanna probably go a little bit lighter there. I'm gonna grab 10s for this one. So I want you to push the weights overhead, glue them together, okay? They start in a straight line right above the shoulders. Then we're gonna hinge back, elbows get to about 90 degrees, and then press those weights up. So make sure the elbows are not flaring out. We see that a lot. Keep them pinned in. If you can keep them right above your shoulders, that's a great goal. That does require a certain amount of shoulder mobility. But again, just make sure that they're not flaring out. Right? If you need to hold a single dumbbell for this one, that's totally an option. You can hold the ends. And that actually really helps with keeping those elbows locked in place. But you're focusing on inhaling on the lower, and as you exhale and straighten, you're squeezing the back of the arm. Okay, mind on the muscle. All right, now we're going to a bent over rear delt fly. So we're going to target the back of the shoulders a little more and those traps. So lighter weight on this one. So we'll start in that hinge position. Soft bend to the knees, flat back. Soft bend at the elbows too. I want you to think about like you're hugging a tree, and we're keeping that soft bend at the elbow. It's easier to see from the front view. Okay, so you can see I'm not doing this like a row. Okay, it's more of like a chest fly. It's just reversing it. Okay, and the focus now is instead on the back of the shoulders. Set those traps. So we're exhaling on the lift, inhaling as we lower. Again, you can think about that pencil analogy with squeezing between the shoulder blades, squeezing the back of the shoulders. Get one more in here. There we go. Nice job. All right. Got one more move in the circuit. Then we'll get a 1 minute break. And this, we're going to finish off with some just body weight push-ups. Target the chest again and the triceps as well. All right. So we're going to take those hands just outside of the shoulders, strong plank position. Elbows go back like an arrow, not like a T on that push-up. Okay, a lot of times you see people go out like this. We don't want to do that. That puts a lot of strain on the shoulder joint. Elbows down and back like an arrow. Tuck your tailbone, core is tight. Everything is squeezing. If you need to mod this, we go to 2 knees. Or a great in-between mod is go to 1 knee. Extend one leg straight. Keep everything squeezing. Elbows back like an arrow. Switch to the other leg. Okay, guys, lots of options here. We're going to get one more in. Inhale and exhale. All right, we're going to take a 1 minute break here, and then we're going to do that whole thing over again. All right, so same exact moves, but second time through. All right, so we're in a recovery period right now. You know, we got through those moves pretty quickly, but again, that's what nice thing about having it in a circuit style is that then we're hitting those different muscles, but back to back to back with minimal rest. It also will help increase that muscle fatigue in a short amount of time. So we're going to be coming up here on that second lap through the circuit, starting with that floor chest press. We'll go in about 20 seconds. You may have gotten a little bit longer than a minute break there. That's okay. So we're going to set up for that chest press from the floor. All right, so make sure you're bracing your core, elbows are in tight as you roll back, feet flat, knees at 90. Again, take the straight line, but then break it, okay, to make a arrowhead there so that those arms, again, are about 45 degrees away from the body. And you really feel that stretch across the chest as you lower, right? And then squeezing the chest and the triceps as you press the weights up. Inhale on the lower, exhale on the press. And if you're limited with your weight choices and you have to go a little bit lighter, then you can go at a faster tempo on your reps, okay? Don't go to the point where you're just like uncontrolled and sloppy, but as long as you keep your form nice, if you want to rep it out a little bit quicker, then that's fine. Like I said, especially good to do if you, are limited with the weights and have a super light selection there. All right, that chest press is done. We're back to those bicep curls. All right, so brace the core, elbows pinched in, keep it nice and wide, palms stay up. Inhaling and then exhaling. So inhaling on the lower, exhaling on the lift. Again, I'll show from the side. So you can see the elbows stay pinned in. That whole upper arm is basically still, more or less, through the whole movement. Core is bracing. I'm even squeezing my glutes, even though the glutes are not the target, but that helps me keep a nice strong base of support. We have 10 more seconds here. Okay, so mind on squeezing those biceps, okay? Before you even start to lift the weights, think about squeezing those biceps. That's the last one. All right. Next up, we have that kneeling Arnold press, right? So find that kneeling position. And if kneeling does not feel good for you in this, you can do the same thing from standing, okay? But elbows up high, palms facing in. Timer timed out here on my screen. Okay, here we go. All right, pressing up. So remember, palms face in, and then palms face out for that high five. Inhale, exhale. Show you guys from a side view. Core is tight, ribs are down, butt squeezing. Keep that strong base of support. Okay, but again, you can see I'm not ever dropping my elbows down too low. That helps to keep those shoulders loaded up. All right, well done. Now we're going to go back to that neutral grip row. So neutral grip, again, palms facing in, weights parallel to each other, working that hinge position, back flat, bracing the core, elbows in tight as we row up. So think about taking those elbows up and back to a 90-degree angle, squeezing those shoulder blades, keeping that core locked in from the front view. If you start to feel anything in the lower back that doesn't feel good, go lighter on your weight choice. Being in this hinge position, if you don't have quite strong enough glutes or core muscles even, you can tap into that lower back a little bit more than we want to. Lower back is helping to stabilize and help us with the movement, but we don't want it to be at the point where it's hurting ever. So focus on keeping that core nice and strong. Last one here. Nice. All right, standing tricep extensions. Again, single weight or double weights on this, whatever you're working with. If you have one heavier one, that's fine. Hold the ends. Okay, sometimes holding both weights can be a little more challenging, just as far as making sure you're stabilizing those shoulders. Okay, making sure those elbows aren't flaring out. Inhale on the lower, exhale on the press. Squeeze the back of the arms as you straighten them out. Feel the triceps stretching as you lower and squeezing them to come back up. Course bracing. Well done, guys. Stay in it. A few more here. Squeeze those triceps. Get one more rep. Well done. All right, we have that bent over rear delt fly, so we're back into that hinge position. So again, same thing I just said. Any pain in the lower back, go much lighter. And if you need to, go body weight. Just work the motion without any weights. All right. Okay, hinge, core tight, soft bend at the elbow, hug the tree. From the front, again, just so you can see how I'm more or less keeping those arms fairly straight. Just a little soft bend at the elbow. And again, squeezing those shoulder blades, pinching that pencil, feeling the back of the shoulders on this one. Get a nice squeeze. Exhale. Inhale on the lower. Exhale on the lift. Inhale on the lower. Stay right there. This one's tough because you're working long levers, so you might wear out a little sooner there. Last one. Nice work. All right, final set of push-ups here. And then we're done. All right. So finish strong on these push-ups. Keep great form. See if you can get at least 10 reps, whether it's on your toes or your knees, but just keep that chest centered right between those hands and elbows back like an arrow. You know what? I'm going to wrap it out a little quicker here because it's our last bit of work. Remember, inhale on that lower, exhale on that press. Again, on the knees or toes if you need to. If you start to feel that, the hip sagging, okay, anything like that, take your assist. I think I definitely got at least 10 there, but keep on going. Almost there, you guys. Stay with it. All right, let's get one more. Nice. Awesome job, you guys. Let's go ahead and shift right back into a child's pose. Arms are extended, forehead to the floor, butt to the heels. Awesome work. Go ahead and take those hands over to one side and just feel the lats, the side of the body there. Get a nice stretch. Hold for a few seconds. And then let's go ahead and walk it back the other direction so that other side of the body gets a nice stretch. All right, go ahead, reset up here to tabletop. Take your inside arm, reach it through, palm up, shift the hips back. Let's stretch the back of the shoulders here. Awesome job, you guys.
that heart rate can still get up. Even a lot of times you see your heart rate a lot of times when you're lifting, definitely get up if you're doing a lot of lower body moves. But if you're doing enough upper body moves at a pretty quick pace with minimal breaks, you'll feel that heart rate still get up. So I hope you're feeling good. Go ahead and take that same arm that was reaching through and take it out to the side, okay, directly to the side. And you're gonna bend that other arm. And I want you to twist toward the bent arm. So let me show you from this position. So when you do this one, you should feel on this side a stretch through the front of the shoulder, maybe through the chest a little bit, and probably even some through the bicep. I love that one. It's a lot of things. All right, go ahead, take the other arm now, reach it through, palm up, shift the hips back, press the arm into the floor so you get the back of the shoulder. Yeah, we hit a little bit of everything on this. We got chest, shoulders, back, biceps, triceps. All right, so pretty well-rounded total body work, or excuse me, upper body workout. Take that arm again out to the side, palm down now. Bend the other arm, twist toward that bent arm. So you guys could easily, like if you wanted this to be more volume, more workload, you could do this twice and you get 4 circuits in. But great to do again if you have minimal time, but you still want an effective workout. It's going to target pretty much all upper body. This is a great one to come to, again, on its own or to supplement with. All right, let's go ahead and place those fingers behind the ears. We're just going to reach it up and then come back down. Similar to what we did in the warm-up from the squat position. But let's just get a nice little stretch through that spine. And then we will finish off with a little more for the triceps and the biceps and the forearms. We'll hit that. So hit that little rotation here for that thoracic spine. Reach it up. Get one more. Okay, come to standing position. Reach that hand down between the shoulder blades. Feel the triceps get a nice stretch. If you feel like you need a little more for your lat, you can go to the side at the same time. All right, we'll shake out. Same thing other side. Reach down between the shoulder blades. If you want the little tilt, go for it. If not, keep it there. And then let's go ahead and get the forearms, biceps, wrists. Nice little stretch there. So just palm down, pull the fingertips back towards you. Stretch all the way through. Go ahead, reverse it now, other direction. So palm down that way, fingertips to the back, extend through. And then other arm, same thing. Great job, you guys. I know you don't typically sweat as much as you do necessarily on a lift day than you might on a cardio day. Still make sure you're recovering properly. Continue to prioritize getting enough protein if you're wanting to lose weight, but maintain and build muscle. Strength training is non-negotiable. Eating enough protein is non-negotiable. Even if you're not wanting to lose weight, if you're wanting to maintain or gain muscle, whatever it is, those 2 things are super important. So make sure you get a nice hit of protein at your next meal. That'll help with your recovery process as well. But hope you enjoyed this one, guys. All right, give me all the feedback if you have anything. And as always, let me know if there's anything specific you'd like to see moving forward. All right, enjoy.